In this video, I'm going to show you how to execute 3-rail kick shots using one extremely useful method. I will explain step by step all important things as well as effects which you need to consider to use this system correctly. This system is actually very easy to understand, and the only thing you need to know is to find your 3 reference lines. Let's imagine a situation that cue ball is very close to this corner pocket, and think for a moment what you need to do to pocket this ball into this corner pocket using 3 rails. And this is the moment where we need to talk about reference line number 1. Our first line going from this corner pocket to the second diamond on this long rail. Cue ball is placed exactly on this line, so this means that if we hit the cue ball along this path, then it's going towards this corner pocket contacting 3 rails. But what is extremely important, we need to apply a lot of running spin and natural speed, because these factors will be essential if we talk about executing 3-rail kick shots. So in this case, if cue ball will be placed on any part of this line and we need to put object ball which is placed close to this corner pocket, then we can hit exactly on this diamond to pocket the object ball using 3 rails. Okay, but let's come back to our first scenario where we have only cue ball on the table. This time we need to talk about our reference line number 2. This line going once again from this corner pocket, but this time to the third diamond on the same long rail. And this means that if you hit the cue ball on this diamond using running spin and natural speed, then cue ball after contact with 3 rails going towards this direction and hits first diamond on long rail. So in this case, if you put object ball very close to this diamond, then we can use this reference line to make a contact with this ball or pocket it. Okay, and this is the moment where we need to talk about last reference line number 3. This line going from the same corner pocket again, but this time to the first diamond on same long rail. So in this case, if we hit the cue ball exactly along this path, it touches 3 rails and going towards this direction and make a contact with short rail right before corner pocket. And once again, if we put object ball very close to this area, then using this reference line we can make a contact with this ball or pocket it. And naturally, these 3 reference lines work the same if we flip our layout and we hit this long rail first. Okay, so as you can see, if cue ball is placed somewhere in between this area, then we can use these 3 reference lines to go in between this area and finish very close to this pocket. But what is very important to note, if we use first reference line, then cue ball going along this path and makes a contact with rails in these points. When we used second reference line, then cue ball contacted short rail bit further and long rail bit earlier, but on the other hand, when we used third reference line, then cue ball contacted short rail much earlier and long rail much further than before. Differences are clearly visible, and this knowledge will be very helpful in the next part of this video. Okay, but you can ask me what will happen if cue ball will not be on one of these reference lines. Let's assume that cue ball is placed in center point of the table and we need to pocket one ball which is a pocket hanger. Because one ball is placed close to the corner pocket, we need to use our reference line number 1 to find a new correct point of contact with rail. In the next step, we need to parallel shift this line to the current position of the cue ball and then find another line which will be exactly between those 2 lines. And this final line indicates our aiming point on the rail's edge where we should hit the cue ball. So in this case, if we roll the cue ball and use running spin, then it follows this path and makes a contact with one ball. And at this moment we can spot very interesting behavior, because if we compare this path of the cue ball with our reference line number 1, then we can see that contact points on this long rail are almost the same, despite the fact that cue ball touches first two rails in different points. Okay, but if object ball will be placed in this area, then to find our new track line we need to use reference line number 2. So once again, parallel shift to current position of the cue ball and another shift to finish perfectly in between those lines. We have our new aiming point on the rail's edge, and with correct speed and spin, we are able to make a contact with object ball. So in this case, if we once again change position of the object ball and put it in this area, then consequently we need to use our third reference line and find our final aiming point following all steps. Okay, as you can see, I consider it only small area, but object ball can be located in different place, far away from the pocket. Let's assume that cue ball and object ball are placed in positions like on this graphic. If we check all of our reference lines, then we can see that each of them don't match the current position of the object ball. So in this case, once again we need to find another track line using two reference lines which are in closest proximity to the object ball. We can see that object ball is placed somewhere in between reference lines number 1 and 2, so in this case we need to shift our cue to the current position of object ball in relation to both of these lines. We can see that this line indicates a point on the rail which is located almost perfectly in between these lines, so in this case if we stand right behind the cue ball, then we need to hit it almost perfectly in between these 2 points. If we use natural speed and running spin again, then cue ball follows correct path and hits object ball. Okay, but of course we can experience another scenario where this time cue ball is placed out of our reference lines, as well as object ball is far away from the pocket. This time calculating our final aiming point is a bit more difficult, and we need to add one more step. Object ball is placed in same position like in previous scenario, so we know what path cue ball should to follow after contact with second rail. This time, to find our final aiming point, we need to use reference lines number 1 and 2 and divide distance between them by 2. We have our new reference line which we need to parallel shift to current position of the cue ball. And in the final step, we need to find another line which is located perfectly in between our previous lines, which will indicate our final aiming point on the rail, where we need to hit the cue ball. So as you can see, we can use this diamond system to effectively execute 3-rail kick shots, but we need to always remember about 3 reference lines and what speed and spin we need to apply to the cue ball. I am absolutely sure that after watching this video, you will be able to much better deal with 3-rail kick shots and gain advantage over your opponents in critical situations. I hope you enjoyed this detailed explanation, and if you found it helpful, then please consider leaving a thumbs up for me and subscribe to my channel if you want to be updated with my content. I strongly encourage you to watch these 2 videos where I explained how to execute 1 and 2-rail kick shots, so you'll have a chance to complete your knowledge about the most important kicking systems in pool. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, see you in the next video. Take care.